Pleased to be joined from Geneva by Beatrice Fihn, Executive Director of ICAN. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's an extremely exciting day, of course.
Did you go to bed last night thinking you'd be a Nobel Peace Prize winner?
No, absolutely not. So quite shocked earlier this morning and been a bit underprepared for this, I think. I don't think you can be prepared, really.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee, was this a poke in the eye to Donald Trump? Because we heard his remarks, especially at the UN General Assembly at the start of September there, just a few weeks ago. Is this a poke in the eye at Donald Trump?
I think it's more than just Donald Trump. I think this is a real strong signal to all states that have nuclear weapons or continue to claim to rely on them in their security doctrines, that threatening to use nuclear weapons, no matter which country you are, is unacceptable. And this treaty makes it illegal as well.
122 nations have signed. Of course, you don't have the legal limit yet of ratification, but you're confident that's going to happen. None of those that have signed on yet are ones who own or have nuclear weapons. What are your thoughts on that score? Is there hope?
Absolutely. I think that we mustn't forget that the majority of states of the world have chosen to not have nuclear weapons, and that they do not see that it's in their security interests. So it's really the nuclear armed states that are the odd ones out. And this treaty also draws a very strong line that nuclear weapons, having nuclear weapons, using nuclear weapons, developing nuclear weapons, is going to be illegal from now on under the international legal system. They might not sign it immediately. It might take a long time to get them on board, but they will have to relate to a new reality where nuclear weapons are declared illegal, and that's going to influence their behavior. We have seen in other cases, like the landmines treaty, cluster munitions treaty, the biological and chemical weapons, that these treaties matter, even for states that don't sign them. They have an impact on policies and decisions, even if they are not states parties to the treaty.
Now, there's far fewer nuclear weapons than there were a few decades ago, thanks in part to the destruction of some of those weapons by the United States and Russia. Overall, though, is the world a safer or more dangerous place today?
Well, I think just the last few years, we've seen a huge investments in nuclear weapons amongst the nuclear armed states. They're all modernizing, upgrading their arsenals, making smaller nuclear weapons or increasing the kill capacity of each weapon. So it's a very, very concerning situation. And just this last few months, we've seen a real escalation in threats to use nuclear weapons, which puts us in a very dangerous situation. So I think this is really the moment where we have to act as an international community. The biggest progress we made on nuclear disarmament have been happening in close connections to these kind of high-risk events. The Cuban Missile Crisis, for example, was followed by regional nuclear weapon-free zone in Latin America, and then the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Big tensions during the 80s between Soviet and the United States led to the Reykjavik summit and the whole big nuclear freeze movement. So I really see an opportunity here that this current crisis, which is very dangerous, also focus attention, and we hope that the treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons will really push states into making a choice. Are we okay with nuclear weapons or are we not?
Is it hard to focus people on this because atomic bombs have only been used twice at Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Absolutely. It's an issue that has been deprioritized, and particularly since the end of the Cold War. People kind of forgot that they still exist. But there are still 15,000 nuclear weapons in the world. Each one of them is much more deadly and impactful than the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, which had hundreds of thousands of civilian victims. And if you look at it's kind of weird that we still have them, because if you look at modern warfare and how the military operates today, leveling entire cities, indiscriminately slaughtering hundreds of thousands of civilians is not acceptable. We have developed laws of war, the Geneva Conventions that regulate this. So it's in one way, it's strange that we haven't prohibited nuclear weapons before.
It's strange that it hasn't happened before. So when we have Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un that trade barbs, there's a tendency to have a bit of gallows humor, to chuckle when we see these remarks. Do you chuckle, or are you very scared?
I mean, obviously you need to use your humor to survive in this world sometimes. But no, of course, it's very, very serious. And what they are talking about is really targeting civilians, threatening to indiscriminately murder hundreds of thousands of civilians, which is unacceptable under the laws of war. We're not supposed to do that as an international community, and we are absolutely not allowed, shouldn't have that remain legal. So yeah, it's definitely serious, and we should be taking them seriously.